What does it mean to be a truly married woman? That is the big question today as we discuss Abioseh Nicol's The Truly Married Woman, a short story in a silent song. Now, the interesting thing about Abioseh Nicol is his full name is actually Davidson Sylvester Willoughby Nicol, CMG. Rather long, but I prefer Abioseh. My name is Wafula Wekati. This is a Wekati podcast. Feel free to visit my blog, wekati.blogspot.com, for more discussions like this. So let us dive right into The Truly Married Woman. The Truly Married Woman is a story by this Sierra Leonean author. It's found between page 42 and 48. As usual, we begin with the main issues in the story. Some of the things I noticed as I was reading this story is Ajay and Ayo have lived together for 12 years. They are not married. When people live together for such a long time, they get used to each other and life becomes a routine. There is a pattern in which things are done and people become comfortable. And life is so nice that way until you get maybe more comfortable than you should have. Like Ajay, after 12 years, they finally get married. And thus the title, Truly Married Woman. One of the things that I've seen in this story is it is normal for a woman and a man to get married before living together or live together for a short time, then they get married. It is rather strange for them to live for 12 years as a man and a mistress. So naturally, Ayo tries to convince Ajay to marry her. She even comes and tells him about her friends' marriages. He becomes angry and says, your friends are so reckless and they spend a lot of money on these things. And he keeps finding an excuse that it's not the right moment. I've never found time to really marry you. I don't have the time. But then what convinces him to finally marry Ayo? When you study the story carefully, you realize that it is Ayo's actions rather than words that convince him to marry her. When she tells him about the beating, it's not even related with the marriage. Beating of Oju. Stop beating our son because he's wetting the mat. Their son is called Oju. Stop beating Oju. Our local nurse called Bimbola told us that such beatings do not really change anything and they do not help. And when he realizes that the wife has been attending important meetings, listening to a nurse that has been trained abroad in America and Europe, he really respects her and feels proud of her. That is number one. Another thing she does that makes him rethink his stance on not getting married is when the white man comes, Olsen. When Olsen comes, Jonathan Olsen, the missionary, how she conducts herself and even speaks a little English, arranges the house, replaces the calendar with half-naked women with religious photos. The man is proud of the wife's action. The white man is so impressed or delighted that he takes some photos, and that convinces the man to finally propose and say, I want to marry you. The funny thing is that the wife is even shocked when the man finally proposes after 12 years. He asks, are you ill? Is there anything wrong? Is there something wrong at work? Okay, I've accepted. Now you can marry me, but please don't say that I made you do it. The actions she was doing, although not related to wanting to get married, because she had even given up, are the ones that finally convinced the man to marry her. That is one of the things that I noticed as I was going through the story called The Truly Married Woman. But when they get married, something changes. We'll find out what changes when they get married. Now, this story is on page 42 of Silent Song. These two people, Ajay and Ayo, have lived together for so long that they are used to each other. 12 years. They are not married. Because the man says the right moment has not come. He feels comfortable, maybe too comfortable. Now, he has some morning rituals, like, for example, taking his morning tea, and you know how he likes it, weak, sugary, without milk. He also likes going to the window and taking the breaths because he says that they prevent some diseases of the chest. Then he also takes a quick bath, with the water from a bucket and with a metal cup. He also takes breakfast that has been made by the wife. Now I'm calling Ayo the wife, but Ayo is just a mistress. They have lived together for long, and you can easily call her a wife because um, she's a good mistress. She has given him 3 children, and she's pregnant with another. And she's patient and beautiful. She's dark with white teeth and honest eyes, and her hair is always neat and tidy. So one wonders, Ajay, why aren't you marrying this woman? Now, Ayo left her home against the parents' wishes, defied the parents, and came to live with Ajay. So Ajay always wanted to marry this lady as soon as they had their first child, but he never really found the time. She would give him details about the marriages, the friends' marriages. But he will say, forget about your friends, they spend so widely, and it's a huge cost. I cannot afford that. They used to go to church together, but the priest would preach against couples who live together but are not married. So Ayo would skip church for some time and then, come back because he loved singing and he knew that the priest was right anyway. Now, the Ayo's father wanted her to marry a high school teacher. I'm very proud of Ayo's father on behalf of all high school teachers. At least somebody wants their daughter to marry a high school teacher. But she chose a government clerk instead. So I feel like maybe a high school teacher in this context was a better choice or eligible. So again, she defies the father, but because she loved Ajay and was very happy in the way they lived together. And she did everything for him, cooked his meals, bore him children, did in the free time she would do some buying and selling. She would visit her friends, and she'd also gossip with Omo, the next door neighbor, the lady that lived next door. I don't know why this book is always talking about African women and gossiping. We would ask Abioseh Nicol, but sadly, he is not here with us, so we cannot find the opportunity to ask him. Look at the routine that Ajay had in the morning. He would put the towel around his waist, go back to the bedroom, then dress quickly in his pink suit. Then he also had some medication. That's also another routine that he used to do. You just drink the medication, and it was bitter, and say, the more bitter it is, that means it's potent, and it claims to cure so many diseases. I don't know why Africans have this kind of medicine that you just mix everything, and the seller claims that it can cure everything, right? So that is another ritual that he loved doing. Then after the medication, also one other thing that he used to do as a ritual in the morning, or habitually, a habit, he used to beat the sun. His son is called Oju. Oju is only 10 years old, and Oju is beaten because he wets his sleeping mat. Ayo and Ajay never disagreed until the moment he used to beat the son, and that is when they would disagree. And that is when she brings up the story of the nurse who said, Bimbola, the nurse is called Bimbola. The nurse studied nursing in England and America, and said, beating the son will not change anything. He will not stop wetting the mat. And when Ajay goes to the office and thinks about what the wife has said, that she's been attending the meetings with the nurse, and now she knows something about modern medicine, he's so proud. He smiles and is proud of Ayo, and he stops beating the son. So Ayo's influence is now felt in the marriage. Then again, he meets the missionaries, and when he meets the missionaries, they come to his house. He sends somebody to tell Ayo that I'm coming with some white men, and these are religious guys. So ensure that the house. He doesn't even give the instruction; just says I'm coming with these visitors. The man says, please look for some. Okay, go and buy some fruit. I think a fruit drink. That is the instruction. But Ayo is surprised because he thought all white men drink whiskey and iced beer. But because they're religious looking, she decides, well, no, let me get the fruit juice. Then she sends the son for the fruit juice. She takes down the calendar with the pictures of lightly clothed women. She puts up family photographs. She removes funny magazines and replaces them with the religious books. She hides the wine glasses under the sofa. She even changes to her Sunday dress and borrows a ring so that she can appear like a truly married woman. But she's not married. She's just a mistress for the last 12 years. Ayo really impresses the husband with the changes in the home. The chief clerk, this chief clerk works with Ajay as the boss. Ajay's boss, the chief clerk, is also impressed because he comes to the home quite often, and he now when he comes with the Mzungus, now he notices the change in the house. The Mzungu is so impressed that he takes some photos of the children and the family. I mean, Ajay's whole family takes some photos. And now Ajay feels, well, I really have to marry this woman because these pictures that this Mzungu is taking of a happy, religious African family is going to be seen by millions of Americans. So for some reason, he feels, I have to marry Ayo. It is because of Ayo's action that Ajay is compelled to marry her. The wedding itself is a spectacle on its own. They decide they'll have a traditional wedding, but Ajay is going to wear a grey dress because she already has children, so it's not good for her to have a white wedding dress. They agree on that. Then she wants a corset because she doesn't want to look too huge. Ajay gives in. There'll be no holiday after the wedding because one, Ajay cannot afford it, and also one bed is as good as another. So they can still sleep on their bed rather than go for holiday or what we call honeymoon. One bed is as good as another. Ayo gives in on that, but they agree on a church wedding. So you can see there is a bit of, before they get married, there is a bit of give and take, willingness to compromise, and they agree with each other, and life is comfortable and smooth. Well, now, one thing about Ajay and Ayo is that on the wedding night, Ayo does not allow Ajay to touch her. Then the father also tells the daughter, now come back home because you're getting married, come back home. The children are sent to the sisters. Two people are not happy about this wedding. That is Ajay's sister because she feels now Ayo is going to feel entitled now that she's going to be married. Then Omo, Ayo's friend, ironically, is not also happy. She's jealous, especially when she sees the presents. And she even talks about the dress that Ayo is going to wear. She says it's too revealing. The negotiations are also interesting. We have different women that are displayed, and Ajay's side of the family has to pick who they want. They say, we have come to pick a red rose. And the Ayo's family asks, are you going to take good care of our lovely rose? The usual stuff of African traditional wedding. They have a church wedding, a quiet wedding, about 60 people present. Look at how Ayo's aunt advises them. Don't be too friendly with other women because they will steal your husband. I wonder how you steal a husband like the way you would a vest on a clothesline or shoes that are forgotten outside at night. I wonder how husbands, or wives for that matter, are stolen. Live peaceably together and do not let the sun go down on an argument between you. That's a very, very vital piece of advice there. Remember, a wife can be as exciting as a mistress. Well, no comment. Do not use violence against our daughter, who is now your wife. 100% in support of that motion. May as many of the opinions say aye, aye. Ayo's mother says, when it comes to the true work of an African woman that's having children, nobody can say that she is not enthusiastic. She has already had three and has a fourth on the way. Now, the morning after the wedding, Ayo is now a truly married woman. You know the routine. They have been living together for 12 years and they're used to each other. And there is a pattern and there is a routine and they're used to certain things. And you know Ayo, whose actions compelled the husband to marry her, including waking up every day at 5 to prepare a cup of tea for him or breakfast for him. The morning after the wedding, when Ajayi wakes up and stretches his arm, the cup of tea is missing. He looks around and listens to hear Ayo moving around the house, the kitchen, maybe preparing. He does not hear any sound. He cries, Ayo, Ayo, are you ill? She must be ill. Look at how Ayo reacts to that. She turned around slowly, still lying down and looked at him. She moved her feet under the cotton bed cover, getting comfortable. There was a terrible calm about her. She's very calm. No hurry in Africa. I'm now a truly married woman. No, Ajay, she replied. Are you? Is something wrong with your legs? Is something wrong with your legs? Get up and make your own tea, man. Is something wrong with your legs? Well, he was alarmed, thinking that all the excitement had made her go a little crazy. He's used to her waking up to prepare tea, and now she's asking, is something wrong with your legs? She has gone a little crazy. Ajay, my husband, for 12 years, I have got up every morning at 5 to make tea for you and breakfast. Now, I am a truly married woman. You must behave towards me with a little respect. You are now a husband and not a lover. Get up and make yourself a cup of tea. That's a truly married woman. Tell me what you think about the story. Let us keep the discussion alive in the comment section. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. And for more of these discussions, deep insights, visit wekati.blogspot.com. Please watch the videos recommended next.